Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 168th installment of the Torah portion of the week. We are holding by Parshas Tetzaveh. Parshas Tetzaveh talks about the oil, pressed oil, right, pure olive oil. Talks about the Kohanim and their garments, right, the Kohanim, what they wear when they serve. Talks about the ephod, the breastplate. Talks about the Urim V'Tumim, the inauguration ritual, a lot of interesting things over here. Torah tells us at the end of the parsha, chapter 29, verse 36, says, "A bull sin offering shall you make for each day for the atonements. You shall purify the altar by bringing atonement for it, and you shall anoint to sanctify it." Right, so you're gonna bring this bull as a sin offering, and it should purify the altar. Right, so says the Torah. Over here, it says Rashi. Rashi over here explains from the Medrash that he says that there's a need for atonement. Right, they ask, what's the atonement for? Why does the altar need atonement? Perhaps a person volunteered to give something, and it was stolen. Right? He wanted to give something to the Mishkan, put on the altar, whatever it is, and maybe he got it, and it was stolen. Right? In other words, he stole it. So the altar's going to need atonement. Says Moiv Rebbe, Arav Agon Moshe Shlita, should be well. Brings down in Chochmah V'das, in his book on Chumash, commentary on Chumash, and he says, what are we worried about? Why are we worried about someone stole? Right? Anyone who gave to the tabernacle gave of their own free volition. They gave from their own hearts. Right? They gave for themselves. Why would we think that if they're giving and they want to give with their hearts, why are they going to give from stealing? Why are they going to steal something they're giving? They're giving from a pure heart. So a person brings it for the sake of atonement. Right, we're talking about a sin offering. Looks kind of weird that he's going to bring an offering that he stole. Here, I wanted to atone for me, but how can I use it for atonement? He stole it. So what's going on here? Comes along the Satmar Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, and he explains through the explanation of the Targum Yonasan. Ben Uziel. He says the intention over here is not what we already stole. Right? That doesn't really make a lot of sense over here at face value. Because if he gives it his full heart, he's not taking it from stealing. Not only that, it's an atonement. It's his first sin offering. But he says, what does it mean? It means he gave his own free will. Right? But he didn't have a full heart. Could be, why is he giving? He's giving because he's embarrassed. Or people are asking him for a donation, so he gives. But maybe he only gives because he's being pestered. They're bothering him, so it's fine, here, I'll give. Therefore, by the altar, by the Mishkan, by the tabernacle, it's considered gezel. The Rebbe says, you got to see how stringent the Torah over here is when it comes to stealing. Then even if he gave with his own free will, but he didn't give with a full heart, it's already disgusting in God's eyes. It's considered like he stole. Not only that, but he needs atonement. But after the fact that he already gave, right, since he already gave, we're going to say he didn't have regret. That he didn't have remorse. But nonetheless, if he gave in a way where it wasn't with a full heart, then that's considered stealing. Right? In other words, he didn't give in the optimal way. Could be just giving to push someone off. Right? But it could be he doesn't really want to give, but they pester him enough and he gives. So you see over here also, Rabbi says that it's a warning to people who collect money for different things, whatever it is, for schools, for synagogue, whatever it is, that they shouldn't put excessive pressure. Because God wants people to give of their own free volition. He doesn't want them to give because they feel they're under pressure. If they put him under pressure, then it's certainly not ideal, even if he gives. So this is a big thing here. Person gives charity. Right? A person gives charity. Why does he want to give? Because he wants to help others. Right? He feels from within he wants to give. And he wants to do the right thing, however much he's going to give. It doesn't matter what it's for. What's the problem? The problem is, how do we know he's giving with a full heart? Right? This is this individual's issue. If he feels that he has to give for any exterior motive, he's giving because he feels pressured. In the end, he's giving. So why can't we look at that as a good thing? Because you have to see why he's giving. If he gives, you'll tell me maybe he needs a little bit of coaching. Maybe he needs, someone to talk to him, maybe sum it up. Okay. But that we're being warned about over here. We're being warned about the fact that can't do that. Because then he's not giving of his own free volition. He's giving because he's being pressured. But you say in the end he gives. In the end, most likely he probably wants to give. But here we're worried. We're worried there's an ulterior motive. Or we're worried there's unscrupulous means of getting this person to give. Guilt, pressure. These are tactics some people use. They're good tactics. It gets people to move. But if you put extra pressure and the person gives, it's bad. Now, if a person has means, and let's say he's got a lot of people knocking on his door, needing help, he can give what he can afford. He doesn't have to break the bank. But at the same time, he has to realize what's going on. What do I mean? He has to see day in and day out. People know he gives, and he's very generous. So word spreads, and you got people day in and day out knocking on his door. First person, second person. By the time he's got to the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth person, he gets tired. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to give. But he wants to have a little bit of menuchas and nefesh. He wants to relax a little bit. Doesn't want, people banging on the door at all hours of the day and night. Somebody like that, tell them set up hours. Have someone else in charge. Right? If you can't handle it. You take somebody to read the beginning of the book of Ruth. There's a famine in the land. Elimelech has the ability to help people. And he's like, I can't take it anymore. People just banging down my door left and right. Comes from a prestigious family. What does he do? Picks up and leaves. Right in the middle. When people need him the most, disappears. So what happens? He goes to Moab with his wife, 2 kids. He dies, his 2 kids die. After marrying Moabite women. Right, so many bring down there that with all the lachats, with all the difficulty, people banging on his door, he should be whistling Dixie to be able to give. And instead, he got burnt out, which is understandable. But it doesn't mean you shirk your responsibility. Because if God gave you the means, you give. And if people know that you give, set up hours, set up someone to be in charge, do whatever it takes. But you got to give, because God says if you don't give and I gave to you, not only will I take it away, but the punishment will be severe. So how does a person get in this situation? So we mentioned, the people come to him day in, day out. The lines never end. Right? He feels he's getting beaten down and people taking advantage. Now, people are in need. Right? We're talking about most cases where the cause is legitimate. Now, if God gave you a pikadon, He gave you a deposit, He gave you this money, what are you supposed to do with it? Use it properly. Should be whistling Dixie, you can help people. You tell me people breaking down your door, this, that. Okay? So you got to figure out a way how to deal with it in the best way. Because at the end of the day, if you give just because you're forced to give, you're not giving for a full heart, it's tarnished. Not only that, you give with a sour face. You lose the mitzvah. The person would say, wouldn't I want to be in that position? Wouldn't I want to be able to give and help others? Everyone would say yes. Why? Because God's given you. God has helped you. God has sustained you. He's given you plenty. So you need to give back. But if you give, we're not saying you're stingy. That's a whole different thing. But if you give for one very simple reason, then you feel you're being pressured, that's not called with a full heart. Not only that, it needs atonement. It's not like, okay, bid the Evid after the fact he gave. He did give. So I would say give him the mitzvah. He gave in the end, okay? It's grade C, charity, the way he gave it. I understand. But he gave it in the end. What do I care if people put pressure on him? He gave it. He's not thinking in the back of my mind, I wish this person would drop dead. I wish these people wouldn't bother me anymore. He's not saying that. Might be a little bit perturbed. But in the end, he's giving. Comes along the Torah over here. And the Torah says that's like he's forced. He's not doing it with a full heart. If he's not doing it with a full heart, needs atonement. So Rabbi says, look and see how far the Torah goes when it comes to stealing. Because over here, he's not stolen money. It's money he earned. Right? It's money God gave him. He's going to use it. Why in the world does he need atonement? Why is it like stealing? I wouldn't say that. Not by a long shot. But the Torah is telling you that technically this is called giving with his heart. But in the end it's not. Why not? Very simple. Because there's something else going on. And that something else going on means he's not doing it with a full heart. If he's not doing it in a full heart, then the Torah looks at it as stealing, and God says, I don't want it on my altar. Get it out of here, I don't want it. Not only that, but now you need atonement. You need atonement for what you did, even though he already gave. Now this absolutely boggles the mind. One thing to tell me, it's as if he stole. Right, to go to that extent and tell me he needs atonement? But he gave. He might have even given from the deep recesses of his heart. Because he really wanted to give. But that's not the way to do it. There's a higher level. You're giving for things to be put in the Beis HaMikdash. Right? Things to be slaughtered. Put on the altar. Right? Taking these animals. You understand what you need to do. And what needs to be done. You're willing to do it. But here there's something lacking. And this point is so crucial that what you gave needs atonement. We don't look at it as I would say, okay, in the end he gave. Because if he gives, we'll say he got a C minus in giving the sacrifice. But he gave it. If he didn't want to, he wouldn't have given it. It's still God with his own free will. But there's something bigger going on. You're putting it on the altar. Or the Kohen, let's say better. Kohen's putting it on the altar. It's going up to God himself, whatever that means. It's put on a higher pedestal. Because it's the Mishkan. It's the tabernacle. So therefore, your thoughts that went into it are crucial. Gotta be 100%. Can't be 92% over here. That's good. No one says not. But it's not enough. To the extent where the Torah itself is going to look at it like stealing. So a person, when they give, doesn't matter how many people have come to the door that day, you got to give with a full heart. You got to give because God wants you to give. Right? But it should come from your heart. Because otherwise we don't look at it that way. Otherwise, the giving, there's something lacking. So you can say, really? You know, how many people, when they give, they have this intention? And they're at that level. Maybe people get perturbed. Person's learning in a shul, in a synagogue, in a base medrash, in a study hall. And what happens? People come in and ask for money for different things. But you're in the middle of learning. I have to give up precious time to learn. You know, so I can take money out if I have to give. Okay, there are halachas here. When people should come, whatever. Usually hopefully not in the middle of prayer. But even if someone's learning, right, do I have to fiddle around and find some coins to give? So as long as it's a minor interruption you give or whatever you give, should be okay. But if enough people come, you're trying to concentrate and learn, it's very easy. It doesn't matter where the person's holding that. More money, less money. Person's annoyed. They'd rather come at a different time. Usually every time is bad. Or we can make excuses anytime someone does it. Fine. But at the end of the day, you take a little bit of money, give to them if you have, and that's it, you move on. What if in the middle of your learning you stop? You say, all right, I'm going to get rid of this guy here. Here's money, goodbye. You lose over here. Right? First of all, if you gave with a sour face, you definitely lose. Second of all, if you gave without a full heart, right, like over here, you'd also lose. But it boggles the mind. The fact that I gave, I should get the mitzvah. The person gave within his means, whatever the case is. So I would say, what difference does it make? He gave! As long as you didn't embarrass the person, as long as you didn't give it with a sour face, everything should be good. Let him get merit for it. So someone's going to say, come on. Torah is very picayune over here. The Torah is very exacting. 100%. But this is what the Torah demands. So you can make a distinction and say, okay, maybe it's different. You're giving this sacrifice. Or you're giving this money. Let's say better. You're giving this money. And it's going for the sake of the Mishkan. For the sake of the tabernacle. Good. So you tell me I have to hold to a higher standard. Because after all, it is going to God's house. The Torah says, yeah, that's very demanding. And if you give in such a way, even if you gave, but it wasn't with a full heart, and you gave it to God, you lose. You lose! You do not only don't you get the merit, but God says, what are you doing? Stealing! Now you need atonement. So you look at this at face value, and you say, God forbid, this is absurd. Person gave. He ends up giving with his free will. Okay, you tell me he didn't do it in a great way. Fine. He still gave. But to say it needs atonement? I can understand if he gave, a grade C sacrifice. You take between Cain and Abel. Abel gave of the best of his flock. Cain brought up dandelions. I understand. God's not going to take it. God's not going to be happy he did it. You tell me he gave? He gave with his own free will, 100%, his own free volition. So you give him a big pat on the back? But this is a disgrace. This is an absolute disgrace. He gave dandelions! And he puts it on the altar. God's going to say, wow, you gave me dandelions! Of course it makes sense God didn't want to accept it. This isn't the case. He didn't give a bogus sacrifice. He gave money for a proper sacrifice. The only thing is, maybe it wasn't done with a full heart. But that's stealing. That's worse than bringing up dandelions. Do you need atonement? I mean, brought up dandelions, they also needed atonement to a certain extent. God tried to get him to tshuva. He didn't like it. God showed he didn't like it. Okay, there's a difference. But to look at it like you stole, like you need atonement, this has to be only from God. This cannot be a man-made thing. Because no man in their right mind is going to obligate his fellow man to live at this level. They'll think he's off his rocker. Because what are they going to argue? Exactly what we said. I gave. Okay, it might not have been the best, but I gave from my heart. A man or a committee or whatever is not going to require their fellow man to live at this level. Because no one will be able to do it. They're gonna look at him and say, are you crazy? Are you out of your cotton picking head? As I would say. I gave! With a willful heart. Not looking for accolades. Not looking for a pat in the back. I did what I was supposed to do. At a high level. Right, comes on the Medrash. And the Medrash says, I beg to differ. The Medrash says, not enough. One thing, you put it on your own private altar when it was permitted. One thing. Do it with a full heart. Don't do it with a full heart. Do it on God's altar. In the Mishkan. In the tabernacle. Yeah, that's considered stealing. It's a much different ballgame. It's a higher level. It's more responsibility. So when a person gives in general, first of all, you have to know how to give. And what if you don't have anything to give? You don't have any money. Or you don't have any money on you, whatever. Give a nice word. Don't just be annoyed. Like a lot of people probably are. Because at the end of the day, what does the person want? The person really wants to do the right thing. And they want to feel good about it. It's a tremendous knock on a person. Even if they give him, they send him away with a nice check. The person felt like he had to give. In the end, he wanted to give. Maybe he gave more than he wanted to give. Whatever it is. He'll get some credit for it. But even if he gives a nice check, and he felt like he was pressured, even though he gives it, person putting on the pressure, he gets the sin. The person giving, not giving with a full heart. So if we weren't talking about the temple, I'd say, okay, he's not giving with a full heart, we'll cut him some slack. Someone at that level, supposed to be at a higher level, 92% is not good enough. But isn't this the way we should live our lives? That we shouldn't be satisfied where we are, right? Someone once told me many years ago, I'm happy the way I am. Well, you're spiritually dead. That's what it means. How can you ever be happy where you are? There's always room to grow. So then you'll say, but there's so many different levels to grow. Finished. Can't do it. It's too hard. I reached this level, but now you want me to reach a higher level? You want me to go beyond? I'm only human. God says you got the potential. You got the power to reach higher. And if you don't, you're going to pay a price for it. Even if we don't think we can do it. So we got to be prepared. We got to go beyond what we need to do. And we got to be happy doing what we're doing. And if someone comes and I can help them, doesn't matter how many people come, one after another. You're busy maybe for a couple hours, like a revolving door. You never ever want to be on the other side. If you have the ability to give with an open heart. 100% an open heart, and do not get annoyed people badgering you. You got to figure out a way how to deal with it. But you never don't want to be on the other side. If God gave you this bounty, use it for the right thing. And do it with a smile. Do it with an extra skip in your step. Because there are people out there really suffering and going through difficult times, destroying families. You don't want to be on that side. You don't never want to be on the side I need. You don't know where to turn. You don't know what to do. You always want to have the ability to give. So don't you think, even if a person's badgered, don't you think they can overlook that? Elimelech didn't. Just couldn't take it. Look at the price he paid. And if someone does that, similar thing, where you don't take responsibility, if you have the ability to do something and help others, you're going to get knocked around. God's going to take care of you, one way or the other. And hopefully a person doesn't have to die. Hopefully we get the message. I was learning real estate. I took a course from a mentor for 6 months. And one of the things he said about, when you get paid and if you set up an LLC and these different things. So he said, never ever try and shortchange the government. Now, that sounds strange. This is a guy, right? It's a non-Jew talking. But he said it like this. He said, if you use my system and it works over and over and over again, and you're making good money, give whatever Uncle Sam is going to take. And give it with a smile. Don't hold back, because you get caught, you're in trouble. You're in serious trouble. So if God, so what I take out from this, if God gave you the bounty, and He gave you a lot and you're successful, give with an open heart. And figure out how to deal with people badgering you. Because if He gave it to you and you don't do that, and you give with an unhappy face and you get annoyed, you're not going to get the mitzvah of giving. Not only that, God can say, what I give it to you for? I want you to help others. Good, you are helping others, but you're annoyed. Well, is that human nature? It's human nature. 10 people come to you within a couple hours, day after day. You can grow in a person in a negative way. But remember one thing. People coming to you are in a very bad position. They're coming asking for help. You don't think that's embarrassing? That's embarrassing. For everybody, doing that should be embarrassing. They're in trouble. They need help. So if you have the ability to help them with a smile, show those pearly whites. Don't worry about people nagging you. Because the minute you start to get a little bit annoyed, you're going to lose all the merit for giving. You're not going to have that divine protection, and then the boogeyman going to get you. Because in a split second, it could be all over. God can just take it all away. Bad investments, whatever. It can all be taken away. Because what's God going to say? He's going to say, why in the world did I waste my time? I gave you this bounty and you blew it. Capital B. If you have it, you don't flaunt it. If you have it, know how to give. Know how to help others. That's your Olam Haba. Says Tornus Rufus, famous Roman. Ask Rabbi Akiva. If your God is all powerful, you can do anything, why doesn't he support all the poor people? So what did Rabbi Akiva answer? To give these people merit in the next world. You have to have poor people so other people can sustain them. That's their Olam Haba. Because they have the means to give. We spread the wealth where a lot of people can help. But you have to help. You have to help with the right attitude. You have to help with a smile, even the person not annoys you. Doesn't mean you have to be taken advantage of. Doesn't mean you have to be abused. But you can, if someone's doing this, you can't imagine the pain they must be in. You can't judge somebody unless you've been in their shoes. And it's uncomfortable for this person to do what he's doing. And woe to the person, no curses here. But woe to the person that gives in such a manner. Because I can promise you, if you give in such a manner, you're going to get all the curses. You're going to lose your money, it's going to be bad. You're going to have to come to others. Because you didn't learn the lesson. You want to hold on to your money? You want God to safeguard it, keep it going? Give to others with a smile. Because you have the ability to do so. And if you don't, so then this is exactly what happens. That money that you gave, not with a full heart, is going to be used against you. Some person gets upstairs after 120 years and says, hey, where are all my mitzvahs of charity I gave? Oh, God's going to say all the mitzvahs? Let's see how you gave it. Let's look at what you did. Person's not going to be embarrassed. Going to be embarrassed. Nobody wants to go through that. So we don't want to lose it. But you have to know how to give. And even give it on your own free will over here. Okay, it's a higher level. Because it's going to the Beis HaMikdash, going to the tabernacle, the Mishkan. What the Torah looks at is if you stole. And if you stole, you need atonement. You could have written a $100,000 check. That's beautiful. Look how it's going to help. But you need atonement for that. Because you didn't have the right mindset. You didn't have it fully in your heart. And when you don't have it fully in your heart, repercussions could be catastrophic. So I want to remind everyone, I have a class on duties of the heart every Tuesday night. Tuesday night, 9 o'clock New York time. Speaking about the evil inclination, how to beat the evil inclination. I have a question and answer session every Tuesday, Thursday, 10 o'clock New York time, 5 o'clock Israel time. Tanakh Talk once a week, controversial issues every every Monday. That is 9 o'clock Israel time, 1 o'clock Central time. Every Wednesday, Pirkei Avos. I do Pirkei Avos. Wednesday, 1 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Israel time, and also I have conversion classes. Anyone interested in any of these things, you can contact me on Facebook, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism. You can send me an email, rabbichaimkoffman@gmail.com, RABBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com. Should everyone a great Shabbos!